Maroon is going to be representative of black, and then the gold will be representative of white. Now there is actually a little line right here in where the black woman, where her median wealth is. We have single women, single men, and then married and cohabitating. So just looking at the data alone, you'll be able to tell exactly how disproportionate the asset ownership is and the wealth, which is what you need in order to buy a home. This data was presented by the United States Census Bureau, as well as the Department of Commerce, and as well as the Housing, Urban, and Development. Now, why is it that the black women are not getting loans? We're obviously educated, we're obviously employable, highly employable in fact. So what is the problem? It's actually the type of lending that we are being offered. There's predatory lending, which is any lending practice that imposes unfair or abusive loan terms on a borrower. It is also any practice that convinces a borrower to accept unfair terms through deceptive, coercive, exploitative, or unscrupulous actions for a loan that a borrower doesn't need, doesn't want, or can't afford. So if you go into a bank and you want to inquire about getting a mortgage, and let's say you are a well-qualified borrower, side by side, and that means that, and some of the data that we'll look at, you'll see that we're talking about the income, education level, assets, income credit score, everything the same, and they're still going to offer the black borrower under this predatory lending. Another big issue is a subprime loan. It is any loan that is not prime. And typically conventional loans are they have about a 3% interest rate. So any loan that you receive above that 3% is considered a not prime loan. Typically subprime loans are for persons with blemished or limited credit histories, and these loans carry a much higher interest rate. It just says higher, but a much higher interest rate than prime loans to compensate for the increased credit risk. These are some more examples of predatory lending that I have found. There is collateral or equity stripping. What does that mean? That means that the practice of making loans that rely on the liquidation value of the borrower's home or other collateral rather than the borrower's ability to pay. They're going to look at the house that you own, or maybe you were, where someone died and they left you some property. So now you have that as assets. When you go in and go get a loan, instead of them looking at your actual ability to repay, they look at your assets and they give you this loan that you probably can't afford. So at the end, when you can't pay that loan, they're going to come and get your house or your grandmother's house and everything else, because that's called equity stripping. There's also one of the major issues in the black community is inadequate disclosure. The practice of failing to fully disclose or explain